When I had a visit a couple of weeks ago from the police wanting to talk about writing, I made a point of explaining to them that I don't grow anything that it is illegal to possess. And that was true at the time, but it isn't true any longer. Because this week the UK government, or more particularly Home Secretary Theresa May, decided to make Catha edulis a Class C substance under the Misuse of Drugs Act. Catha edulis is its botanical name. It's usually known as Khat. Now you'll sometimes hear it called chat or Khat. Those are regional variations of the pronunciation, but I stick to Khat because that's the pronunciation that caused the Westerners who first discovered it, first found it in use, to give it the botanical name Catha. This plant then could now see me end up in jail. The attractive part of it are the young stalks. People strip the leaves off and chew them. Typically you buy 250 gram bundles. When it was legal, those bundles cost about £4 retail. Experience from countries that have made it illegal before suggests that these bundles would now be worth 10 times as much. The suggestion, and it's only a suggestion because it's not in the official announcement, the suggestion that Theresa May thought it was being used to fund terrorism makes that a ridiculous reason to schedule it. Because if you increase the price, if it is funding terrorism, there's no evidence that it is, but if it is funding terrorism, then you've just given the terrorists an awful lot more money, because there's no way that prohibition reduces use to 1/10 of what it was. However, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the issues surrounding the ban. Lots has been written on the net, most of it much better than I could do. But because I'm a law-abiding citizen, I'm going to get rid of this plant. And I thought what I would do is make a video of this plant being destroyed as my contribution to saying what is so terrible, what is so wrong with this plant. It's a pretty big plant, and me trying to move it outside is probably not going to be a pretty sight, so I'm not going to video that. I'll video when I get it outside and actually destroy it. I said it's a pretty big plant. In reality it's 3 plants all growing in the same very large pot. That's why moving it outside is going to be a pretty tricky job, but I decided that disposing of it inside would be even messier. These are some of the leaves that have dropped off it. It regularly drops leaves. The point of showing you the dead leaves is because that's an important part of the story of this plant. The active ingredients that make it a mild stimulant are very unstable, and within 2 or 3 days they've degraded and the plant is useless. Theresa May has argued that one of the reasons for scheduling it is because she doesn't want the UK to become a transit point for people smuggling to countries where it's already been banned. Well, you'd have to be pretty efficient to get it from somewhere like Somalia or Kenya or Ethiopia where it's grown, get it to the UK and then forward it on to another country, all within the 48 to 72 hours that the plant remains stable. Use of the UK as a transit port is not a major threat. The other thing about that is that Theresa May talked about European countries where it's been banned. She didn't make any reference to America. And there are people who think that it's pressure from America that has resulted in this plant being scheduled. I did consider simply stopping watering the plant and just leaving it to die off of its own accord before trying to remove it. Part of me wanted to do that because of the debate about how much water this plant needs, but I realised that the experience of one plant in a pot in Scotland is not going to be typical of what happens in places like Yemen and Kenya and Somalia where it's grown as a commercial crop. But certainly some of the people who are opposed to its use claim that it requires an awful lot of water and that that is disruptive to the needs of the people for food. Well, that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it might be, although as you can see one of the supports of the plant has broken off, so the whole plant has collapsed over, already looking a bit of a mess. It's a very bright day today, but there is a little bit of wind, so I'm not sure how good the sound will be straight from the camera. So what I'm going to do is just leave the camera running, go and get some secateurs and cut it up. So there we are, all cut down, and now I just need to leave that and let that decay, and in 2 or 3 days time I can take it off to the tip or stick it into my compost bin. All that's left is to get the roots out of that pot. It's pretty full of roots, so that might be a little bit tricky, but I rather suspect that if I don't do that it may grow back, and I can't really say I've killed the plant unless I get all the roots out of that pot. So there we are. I think that's what proper gardeners call pot bound, a complete mass of fine roots filling up the pot. But that's it, plant's gone. I suspect when I leave it and move indoors to sort out this video, it'll soon be covered in blackbirds looking to see what they can find in amongst the soil and the roots. So, goodbye cat plant, destroyed because of the idiocies of a government minister who believes she knows better than experts and believes the old line that I've used before, that drugs are harmful and they have to be illegal, rather than drugs may be harmful to some people and those people ought to be given help, not made into criminals. It's a disgrace and I'm very sad.